so much better.
Absolutely.
Now it's I don't know how much of a play caller Dan Campbell is, but he definitely is a good leader, and that's really the best when you're developing a quarterback. I know that this was one of down the line, like I want to start off actually, because now talking about Dan Campbell, and I wanted to start off with this topic. I know that I saved this for later, but now that we're talking about it, I have a good thought. I think Hendon Hooker, as far as development, Dan Campbell is the perfect person for his development because of just how Dan Campbell, you need a leader when you're developing a quarterback. You need a guy who is going to give you no, I guess you could say, bull crap. I'm not going to, but he's going to be real with you. He's going to keep it 100 with you, but he's also going to lead your team in a right way. And when you're getting into the league, the NFL, you need those mentors. You need those guys who you model your character after. And so I loved how you guys took on Hendon Hooker and are keeping Goff. But my question to you is, what is your guys' plan at QB moving forward? Because it's kind of interesting, you know, how long does Goff stay on this team? Yeah, so now that you have Hooker, how long does Goff stay on this team, and what is your guys' plan moving forward? Do you think
Okay,
yeah.
So I might be in the, I would say maybe it's about a 50-50 split, maybe 40-60, could be 65-35. I am a huge Jared Goff believer and supporter. I am not a slappy of Goff, but I believe that Goff can lead us to where we want to be. So what do I think they're going to do? I think that Hendon Hooker is going to be redshirted year one, and I think that Goff obviously is going to be the leader. After this year, if Goff performs nearly at the level that he performed last year, I believe that the Detroit Lions are going to extend him somewhere around the range of 40 to 45 million. He'll probably still be in that mid-tier quarterback range when it comes to the contract. But I think that with Jared Goff, obviously, the thing that bothers me, what people say about him, is he needs a team around him. Like, he has to have play action. He has to have this. And I think you can say that about every quarterback. Jared Goff has his weaknesses and his strengths, but I think that he is perfectly capable of taking us to where we need to be. I mean, he did lead a team to the Super Bowl to go against probably the greatest coach of all time, against the greatest quarterback of all time, and he lost. He scored 3 points. But I believe that Goff, Hendon Hooker, is going to push Goff to be better, and when he's ready, they'll duke it out. But I think Goff is going to be here for quite some time. That's just my personal belief.
Well, and as long as the offensive line is strong around Goff, we saw when it wasn't.
Yeah.
My main problem with Goff is how do you, if the offensive line is ever not at its, I mean, you guys have a top 5 offensive line. If it's not ever at its best, does the feeling or the, how do you put this? Does the outlook on Goff sound or completely change? Because under pressure, I kind of compare him a little bit to Jimmy Garoppolo, although I like Goff more than Jimmy Garoppolo. But under pressure, it's like he starts to crumble a little bit. So my thing is you guys get injuries maybe later on in the year to your offensive line, and now what does Goff look like, and does your perspective change on that? That's just my.
That's a really good question. Year one, we saw the frazzled Goff, and I know he led the league in turnovers. Up until this year, I think his lack of interceptions, lack of fumbles, toning that down a lot, cut down. I think he led the league with over 60 since 2019. The offensive line is a strength, and it has to be the case. But I think that I believe that Jared Goff he's at an unfair disadvantage. I think because Stafford, we got to see Stafford for 10 plus years, the gunslinging mentality, the fearlessness from Stafford. Stafford didn't always have the best offensive line, wasn't the best mover, but for some reason we give Stafford more of a reprieve than Goff. So if Goff was to lose his offensive line, and I believe that he's going to play better this year than he has when he was in LA, even if the line, somebody goes down, because we have quite a bit of depth as well at our offensive line. So I think he's solid. And just like I said earlier, any quarterback, Justin Fields had no offensive line. And if you take the ability for him to run away, then what does he look like? You know what I mean? So I feel like that all the things you mentioned are important, but I think that Goff is going to be solid this year in year 3.